Hello, Oracles. Tesla stock is back. Now, of course, it never really went anywhere, but obviously we had quite a bit of a dip and a lack of performance over the last couple of years. Now, this was all due to the fact that their deliveries basically are flat year over year. They're probably going to be up just very slightly, but for a growth company, that is not what Wall Street wants to see. Obviously, a lot of retail investors and those who are very bullish on Tesla stock from the retail perspective see what Tesla's potential future is. That never wavered for most folks in the community. And because of that, they kept on holding all the way through. And as I had mentioned in videos going all the way back to when Elon was selling in 2022, that we were going to see some amazing buying opportunities for the next year or so. And of course, if you guys want to go back and watch those videos, you can see as I explained that as it went through. And yes, that's exactly what we got. For the last couple of years, we got some amazing buying opportunities. Now we're going to get into some potential buying opportunities again coming in the future, but that all ended up playing out. And now I am very far from perfect because I did not anticipate how the rate hikes were going to affect Tesla's sales this year. So that was on me, and I made that mistake. But I quickly adjusted as soon as I recognized that that was going to play out. Now, I did change my strategy, as many of you know, and I switched over to more cash flow because I recognized what was going to transpire for Tesla over the last year and a half. And I was like, ooh, if I just kept on taking that money and putting it into Tesla itself, it wasn't going to actually net me as much as I could if I switched my strategy. Now, everybody has a different investing strategy. Everybody has a different goal that they're striving for when it comes to investing. So for me, that was my goal, was to get more cash flow and build up a cash stockpile to be able to take advantage of opportunities that we had. That's exactly what I ended up doing. So I took that money, bought a house. Now I have a tenant that brings in more cash flow for me. I took a lot of that money that I had and I put it into dividend stocks that also brings in a lot more cash flow for me. I'm also building up my cash stockpile. Now, I do still anticipate a recession coming up, and that's where I think we're going to get that next giant buying opportunity for Tesla. And if you guys go back and watch any of the videos, or if you guys remember the videos that I had made a few years ago discussing how this recession I'm anticipating. I've been anticipating this for a while now, and of course, many others have. And many people can say that bears predict 10 of the last two recessions because you're constantly predicting them. But I also kept my strategy going forward as if we weren't going to get one. But I do still think we have one on the horizon. And with that coming, that means that all the cash flow that I've created for myself and that cash stockpile can be deployed into Tesla stock and all of my other plays. Realistically, for me, in the long run, I'm looking for cash flow generation. I think Tesla in the long run is eventually going to be paying out dividends, but that's not going to be until after my end goal strategy is at. And then for me, Tesla is going to be that massive cherry on the top for all of this for myself because I don't want to sell any Tesla stock. I want to continue to ride this out. And there's a lot of different strategies for people who want to retire on Tesla, whether it's selling portions of it, whether it's going to be trading options off of it, or some people will take loans and use their Tesla stock as collateral like Elon did. There's a lot of different strategies, but my strategy is going to be having just straight passive income coming in where I realistically don't have to do anything. And I'm building up that portfolio underneath to have that. And so when Tesla does end up start paying those dividends, I can just use all of that to continue dripping it in and building that for future generations down the road. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in 100 years, if Tesla's still going to be around or not, but I want to be able to give my future generations that opportunity to have that in the future and they can decide from there what they want to do with it. But looking at Tesla now, I think that opportunity is going to come. And even if we don't get a recession, I'm looking 10, 15, 20 years out. We've got Optimus coming. We've got FSD going to be solved most likely in the next year to year and a half. We're going to have cybercabs on the road in 2027 per Elon. So if all of these things do come to fruition, it's not like all of that money is going to just bring the stock price up right now. We have seen in the past, and I think it's going on right now as well, a lot of future earnings getting pulled forward into the stock price as it is. Now, I do think that the next year, we're going to get back to where we were before, where it was that 30% year over year growth, where Elon has said we are going to be having the Model Q coming out, which will end up getting us to that point. I also think that the production process that we're going to have for the Model Q is going to be adopted by all of their other models, thereby lowering the cost of production for all of their vehicles, thereby bumping up the margins significantly more and giving them that pricing power back. They can either bring down the price of their vehicles or they can keep them steady where they're at and keep those margins up. but it'll bring us back to that 2021 scenario where Tesla had a lot of room where they can swing with their prices. There was a lot of demand coming in, and therefore they were able to play with the pricing as much as they wanted, and they hit massive margins over 30%. I do think we will get back to that point at some point in the future. But if we get a recession, that just means that you can buy at a major discount. I do think we're going to fill that $218 gap, depending on how bad things get. Could come down and fill that $146 gap. We just have to see how things play out. I will have plenty of cash and cash flow coming in to take advantage of those opportunities. But let's say we don't get a recession. If we don't get one and we just continue to go up from here, we're still going to get a correction. That's just completely normal when it comes to any stock, and it's healthy because you don't want this to just keep going up as it is, because at some point it will break, as we saw in 2022. But let's say we just nicely, steadily keep going up from here, we can still see a potential 5x by 2035. So that's 5x in the next 10 years, going from near $500 up to $2,500 in 2035. Now, I did have a suggestion from Sith Lord on my last live stream to go back to do the retire on Tesla videos. I will get back to that. Those were very fun. And again, they're all speculation. So, you really can't base your entire strategy around those. But it's fun to see what the potential could be for your stock and your portfolio and your potential retirement off of Tesla. So I will get back to those to get some true numbers out there again. I'll build up that valuation model again. But when I'm looking at Tesla 10 years out, potentially being $2,500, it's not like we're going to get to $2,500 tomorrow. So even if we don't get a recession, there's still going to be a lot of buying opportunities over the next 5 years or so to continue to add. It's like buying Apple. Warren Buffett didn't buy Apple until 2016. So yeah, sure, he missed out during the dip in 2008, but do you think he still did pretty darn well since 2016? He sure as heck did. Same exact scenario is going to be playing out for Tesla. If we get a recession, we'll have amazing buying opportunities to have significantly bigger discounts on something that I still think, even if we get a recession, will reach that $2,500 mark by 2035. So you get a massive discount. If we don't get the discount, we still are buying at much cheaper prices right now. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying go and buy Tesla stock at the price it's at, because I do still think that it is a little bit inflated at the moment. We still have some sentiment pushing it up and some FOMO kicking in right now as well. So for me, I'm not a buyer at these levels right now. I'm playing as my portfolio goes up, and as my portfolio builds even higher and I have more opportunity to buy more Tesla stock, I will add more. I still have Tesla in my IRA. I'm up over 125% in my IRA when it comes to Tesla stock. I've got it in my 401k. I've got it in my HSA. I've got it in all of my other different accounts that I've got out there. So for me, I'm just in my main portfolio sitting and just waiting to see what's going to happen. If an opportunity presents itself, I will add to it. Now I am consolidating my portfolio, which means that I'll have less positions to add to, which means I can add to Tesla sooner. That is kind of what my goal is to get to, is really get down to the core of what I want to have for my stock portfolio long term, and Tesla is going to be one of those positions. So then looking at what Tesla has in the future and why I think it could potentially get to that $2,500 by 2035 is the fact that, again, we've got the Model Q coming out next year. That is going to be the massive one for Wall Street. That is going to be the total addressable market that expands Tesla 3x when it comes to vehicle sales. Let's say we keep the EV tax credit, you're now going to be able to potentially buy this Model Q for under $20,000 in some states. You'll get it under $25,000 nationwide. It's also going to be able to give Tesla a lot more pricing power when it comes to the Chinese competitors, which are really the only competition Tesla has right now. In Europe, it's going to give them a much better opportunity because a vehicle like that is more typical of what you'll see in the European landscape. So to have a vehicle over there, I really think that'll be widely adopted over in Europe as well. So huge, huge changes when it comes to the fundamentals. And that's what ended up happening over the last couple of years is, with the interest rates going up, the fundamentals of Tesla basically, that's what changed. And I really don't change my investing thesis on sentiment. It's mostly on fundamentals. And for that near term, the fundamentals did change. Those fundamentals are now coming back with the Fed dropping interest rates. Last we heard, the market is expecting an interest rate cut again coming this week. So when we get that interest rate cut, that's still going to bode well for Tesla. We are now starting to finally see interest rates coming down for houses. We will end up seeing the same thing happen for vehicles as well. That is going to help Tesla's vehicle sales also. Now, of course, if we get a recession, that will hurt vehicle sales. But as I had predicted previously, when you're going to have that Model Q coming out, you're still going to increase that total addressable market, even for people who are struggling due to a recession. So again, people still will need a vehicle, but Tesla having a lower priced vehicle will at least allow them to have a little more growth on top of that. And then again, let's say we get a 6 to 12 month recession from there, then you're going to end up having that 6 to 12 months closer to when cybercabs come out. And don't forget, Wall Street looks about 6 to 12 months ahead. So once we get to 2026, that's when Wall Street's going to really start looking at cybercabs in 2027 and begin pricing in the potential model there. So if we get the recession, you can start looking forward to when Wall Street's going to start pricing in that cybercab because again, people need to get around if they can't afford a vehicle due to a recession. It'll be a lot cheaper for them to get into a cybercab and take a ride from there. So now vehicles aside, moving into the energy piece of things. So energy obviously is going to be another huge play. When it comes to President Trump as well, he's really pushing for a lot of energy. And with Elon being somebody that Trump is now listening to, discussing how we really need to update the grid, Tesla's going to play a major role in that also. And that's going to expand the energy piece when it comes to Tesla. So that grows also. You're going to have Tesla EV charging stations. As we know, Tesla has become the nationally adopted charging station. And so of course we're seeing Legacy Auto adopting that into their vehicles as well. We will also see that happening when it comes to FSD. GM just dropped their Cruise line, which means that they no longer have a vehicle on the road that's going to be fully autonomous. So, are they going to license from Tesla? Tesla already said that they have another major automotive maker that they are working with. I have a feeling it is Ford, and we will end up seeing that probably announced in late 2025 into 2026 about the partnership. Once Tesla actually does solve FSD, we'll probably hear about that partnership coming out. But I have a feeling that's going to be it. And then we're going to see other manufacturers do the same thing. We're already starting to see the mergers like I had predicted as well. Said by the end of 2024 into 2025, we were going to start seeing mergers. You're starting to see that when it comes to VW. You're starting to see that when it comes to Honda and Nissan. This is what's happening. Legacy Auto is getting crushed. You're going to have some players that are going to have to merge or get absorbed by other ones just to help them both survive. This is exactly playing out as we had all predicted. So now we just have to wait and see what's going to happen in the future. And now this is where FSD is going to come in. And well, that's going to be the wave of the future. So if these manufacturers can't do their own, they're going to need to license it from someone. Tesla right now is going to be the leader. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe we see partnerships with Google and Waymo when it comes to all these other automotive makers as well. Lots of other things to play out with there, but that'll be on the cybercab and robotaxi side of things. Then the robotaxi comes in, and then you start to see what happens with Uber. Is Uber going to go under, or are they going to be adopting this as well? You've got Uber and Lyft are the two main players when it comes to ride hailing. Now you have cybercabs coming in. You don't need drivers anymore. So if Uber wants to survive, they're going to have a fleet of their own cybercabs out on the road. So that's what's going to end up happening is they're going to have that or they're going to go under entirely, thereby opening up that entire market even more for Tesla to get into. Then you've got Optimus, which is moving along significantly better than a lot of us had anticipated. We've seen videos of it walking down a hill, stumbling a little bit and catching itself just like a human would. Phenomenal progress coming out of Optimus. And now we start putting FSD into that. It's really going to start growing. And then, of course, that is the really long term. That's the one that Elon said himself is probably going to completely eclipse all of the other pieces and components of Tesla and make it larger than all of them combined. So, with all of that coming forward, the runway for Tesla is extremely long. Now, $2,500, I think, will be a no brainer for us to hit. Whether it happens in 2035 or not really just comes down to the timing of how Tesla actually gets all of this stuff rolled out. But regardless of that, we are going to get to that $2,500 mark at some point in the future, in my opinion. And then from there, we just keep going up. So again, going back to my strategy and did I miss out? I don't think I really did because I look back at how much money I invested as I did into the portfolio as I have it. And sure, maybe I could have like 4x my portfolio, but what would it have gotten me? It wouldn't have gotten me closer to what my personal goals are when it comes to the cash flow and the ability to retire early. And because of the fact that I have more cash flow coming in, now I have the ability to buy even more Tesla. I ran the numbers on it. If I had kept going the way I had been going and invested what I did and not switched my strategy at all, I would have to wait until about 2040 for myself to be able to retire. By switching my strategy now, I can retire by 2030, a full decade sooner, and I can continue adding to Tesla stock on top of that as we go forward in my retirement and build up that portfolio even more with Tesla and everything else. So that's why I shifted my strategy. So far, it has been playing out exactly as I wanted it to. Of course, there's never anything that's perfect. I've had some hiccups along the way, but I have no regrets in switching the way I did it. Now I'm back on track. And now that I've learned all the things I needed to learn, which that was a huge component of it as well, I learned all of that over the last 2 years. If I didn't learn that over the last 2 years, I don't know where I'd be right now. But right now, I have learned all of that, much happier with what my future holds for myself. And I'm happier about the fact that everything had played out the way I laid it out, and I can add more Tesla stock as we go forward from here. And I'm much happier for it. So look forward to more Tesla videos coming from me in the future. I'm still going to do all of the broad market stuff as well, but I will do a couple of videos every single week dedicated just to Tesla and what is going on with the stock price and what's going on with the company as well. Because I do think, as I thought before, and that never really changed, was Tesla, I think, is going to be one of the largest companies in the future that we are going to be seeing. And Elon says that it's going to be larger than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But I do think that Tesla is going to maintain one of its top positions when it comes to company size and the impact they're going to have on the world going in the future. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Tesla is going to be that company of the future as we had talked about previously? Do you think we're going to hit potentially $2,500 by 2035? Let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.